Hi everyone, happy Easter. I hope you're having a lovely day in the sunshine. So I'm here to talk about study number 3. I hope you enjoy the recording. It's just audio because I recorded it on my Zoom recorder. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that and having a goal for this week. Oh, so good. I really appreciate this challenge. Thank you, Liz, for organising it. It's so useful for not only for students but for teachers. It gives us something to aim for. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And obviously it's for a brilliant cause, so that's great too. Okay, so start slow and steady. And in the long run, the slower we start and the more we hold ourselves back in terms of speed, the more we're going to gain from this study. We're going to gain more even fingers, even tone across all the registers if we just hold back. I like to use the kind of marker that whatever my slowest bar is in this piece, e.g. the hardest bar for me, that's my speed for the first few days, so that I can, practice it as one even speed throughout. So I really recommend doing that. Warming up in F major in lots of different ways is so useful. I found it invaluable. So I started each practice of this study with a very, very simple, calm, relaxed version of the F major scale, probably slurred because I'm it's quite a slurred study. I was getting in the mood. Then I'd extend it all the way to top B flat and then down to low C and back to F. And then I would try it with the different articulations that we find in this piece. So maybe I'd slur every 4 notes, or maybe I'd slur every 3 notes, and then tongue staccato note the 4th note in every group, just like we have in bar 28. So try and anticipate what kind of articulation am I going to encounter in this study, and therefore what should I be warming up. Here are some thoughts on bar 12 onwards. I really recommend that. So this is the section that goes. I'd recommend breaking it down. So first, let's do the first 3 semiquavers in each group. Even that's a bit tricky. Now, we're going to do the last semiquaver. Well, the last 2 semiquavers in the group. Hopefully this makes sense. Idea. Yes, my favourite thing to do in a tricky passage. This is the hardest thing by far. And I will mess this up because it's really, really, really hard. But it's fine to mess this up because what it will do is help us in our final, run through at the end of this time at Wells, hopefully, when we all gather together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the 4th semiquaver of each beat. Okay, and I'm going to start from beat 3 of bar 12. So the 4th semiquaver, I am deleting it. I'm not blowing. You won't hear it, but I will do the fingering. This is so much harder than it seems. Okay. Now I'm going to delete, what shall I do now? Now I'll delete the 3rd semiquaver in each beat. So tricky. You can do that with all of the semiquavers one by one, and then you'll find when you play it, it's so much easier. I really recommend doing that. Okay, so that was bar 12. The next bar I was thinking, bar 28. I was just thinking a really nice way to smooth that bar out, because it's quite tempting to go. You know, the last semiquaver feels a little bit like sticking out. We want it to be as smooth as possible and still staccato. So what I really recommend doing is repeating that bar a few times, fully slurred in groups of 4. Or even, why don't we start in groups of 2? And now break it down into groups of 4. 4 semiquavers in each group. And now we're going to repeat this a few times, and what we're going to do is trick ourselves. So I don't know how many times I'm going to do it, but one of the times I am going to make the last semiquaver staccato. So I find that really helps me. This is 41 to 44. Seems really easy, but it became a little niggle for me. Every day I would get to this bar and it wouldn't quite work. It's quite annoying. And I was thinking, why is it so annoying? What is it about it? Is it the fear factor? As we go higher and higher, we're thinking, oh God, I'm not going to make it, and we don't, and then we're convinced that we can't. I think it is. For me, it was that. So, study practice. I really recommend landing on the high A in bar 43, and just land on it. So bar 41, 42, land on 43, and don't carry on. It's actually quite doable to do that. The hard thing is carrying on after that A. So we need to get really comfortable with going up and up and up and up and up, and we land on the A, and great, well done us. We do that again a few times to get really comfortable with it. 10 years ago, back when I played the organ, I had many phases, organ, bassoon, you name it, but I played the organ for a bit, and the organ teacher, he was so helpful with chunking pieces and how to practice really tricky sections. So he always said to me, instead of running, those 4-bar sections really hard, don't run the whole thing slowly and then quickly. That's very, that's fine, but it's not efficient. It will take ages to get there with this method, and it won't be very foolproof. So what he recommended to do is you play the last beat or the last few notes, depending on how hard the section is. And you do that a few times, and then you add the beat before, and you continue to the end that you just did. And then you add the beat before, and then the beat before, so that you're building it up, but backwards, which I find so useful, especially in this section here. So let's just do beat 4 of bar 42 onto the high A. And then we're going to add the beat before. And we're going to add beat 2. Etc. Then I would start back on that beat 4. So we're getting over the hump. For me, psychologically, it was getting over the A and beyond. So we're going to start at the end of that bar, the same bar 42. Then we're going to add the beat before. Etc. Build it up. Take the time. I don't want to speak for too long, so I'm not going to do this now. But take the time to go all the way back to the beginning and continue all the way to the end of bar 44. And you will notice, if not right then, a dramatic improvement the next day or the day after. In bar 25, instead of doing this, and then, way too difficult. So instead of doing that, I leave my little finger on the C and the C sharp, obviously at the same time. So the entirety of those 2 bars, my little finger is on the low C, and it doesn't go anywhere. It does slightly change the tuning, so I would never recommend this for a slow passage or a slower passage. But here, where we're zooming along at quite a fast speed, where doing this would be, I mean, if someone can do that, please give me tips on how to do it. But for me, this is what I do for those 2 bars. Equally at the end, bars 45 and 46, I do this. I start off, actually, really importantly, I start off bar 45 with the correct fingering. Ignore the plug here. I have very short 4th fingers. That's why it's there. So bar 45, I'm starting on F and my little finger is in the correct place. Then, as I go on, F, G, A, C, and then I stay there. So easy, so beautiful. And then the following bar, I'm in the same place. F, G sharp A. Oh, what am I doing? F, G sharp A, C, F, G. So handy. However, let me just move my camera across. In the penultimate bar, right at the very end, we've been going F, G sharp A, C, F, G sharp A, C. We need to switch to the normal little finger position for the F, the long F at the start of that bar. We've got a minim F, and we can't play that F with this key on, with the C key on, because it will sound very out of tune. So we need to practice doing F, G sharp A, C, F, G sharp A, C, F. This leads me on to my next trick. Anna Pope, amazing teacher, she gave me the most incredible tip about your little finger on low Cs. And this study needs it. It really needs it. There are so many sudden drops. And I'm sure that there are other studies that in this series where we have sudden drops to low C. So the trick is you get your little finger just before you're about to do a run through of a tricky C section or just the whole study, and you rub the side of your nose. One side, that one's better. Okay, and it will feel suddenly very, very greasy. Not pleasant if you really think about it, but it's going to help you so much, because now that I can move so smoothly. I'm flying, you know. And the other day I was practicing this. I'd forgotten about this trick. And I was practicing it, and every time I was going down to low C, it was scrunching and crunching, and it wasn't good. And I remember this trick had a little go like this either side. Doesn't have to be both. Started again, and it was just beautifully smooth, and it helped me so much. So I really, really recommend doing that. Okay, so now for my last point. The icing on the cake, once you've watched all these things, would be to think about the imagery or a specific mood that unfurls, changes, develops, or maybe it's a scene, a cinematic scene you can see in your head as you're playing, to really lift this to another level. And for me, I like to think of the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, who's always late. He's running and running and running. He's got his little clock, and he's always late. He hasn't got time. He's just going. But he is running through some beautiful scenery, some forests, there are flowers, there are magical things everywhere. So it's a lovely setting, but we're going quite fast throughout, and there's no time to stop, there's no time, got to keep going. And then right at the end, as we run up that arpeggio onto the high F, he has made it just in time for tea with the Mad Hatter. There's a beautiful scene, lovely long table, lots of food. I'm probably thinking about this because it's time for Easter lunch now. So that's why this particular ending has come to mind. But there are some lovely moments in this study where we go up and up and up and up, and then we go back down. And for me, I imagine the rabbits jumping over hedges or going underground, or, I have a whole story playing in my mind. And I think that's the icing on the cake to finish off your study practice with.